Chris, can you hear us?
Is only when you log into your, not on this, but
I can hear you. Yes, sir.
Okay.
on board doc. Will you see the executive conference?
And I'm printing off those comments for you now.
Okay.
Not for the executive session. It's just, we discussed.
This is my one from home. Better because we can't have any troubles.
All right.
Oh,
Are we
Hey,
ready?
Mike, you just want the comments?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, so does everybody need to mute theirs here so we don't get that?
if you turn the mute on your tablet, then it won't echo.
We have to turn the volume.
All right. All right.
Yes. Okay. I should hopefully be able to. I just probably the first time I'm doing it on this one.
Okay. You ready, Jen?
Close enough.
Are we good, Rigo?
See my screen.
All right. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Thursday, June 18th, 2020. I would like to call to order this special board meeting of the Othello School District Board of Directors. We want to thank everyone who is on tonight. Although we are here in the meeting room, we still have to do this via Zoom to be able to accommodate more than the people that are allowed per OPMA rules. I would like to welcome everyone or anyone who will be with us tonight. Again, full disclosure, if technical difficulties arise, we will do our best to remedy those in a timely fashion. So I would like to call this, the meeting to order and begin with the flag salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda of tonight's meeting.
My motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Okay, there's been a motion made by Director Prowse. Can I get a second?
I will second that.
Seconded by Director Johnson. All in favor of the approval of the agenda, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, moving on. Board discussions. When we were putting this agenda together, Dr. Hurstali and myself, basically the discussion on facility needs is on here just for, I guess, toss it around the room. I know that we're at a point in time where there's really not a lot to discuss, unfortunately, based on the fact that there really isn't a lot that we could decide right now, as much as we wanted, or the uncertainty of some of the stuff that's still going on. I don't think we're in a position to make any plans. But I think for full transparency, I mean, if there's anybody that wants to bring something to the effect of that, you know, we're not shut down forever per se. I mean, I think the public needs to be aware that as soon as possible or within reason, when we can get back into a planning mode or a planning cycle where we have some clear instruction from the governor as to, you know, what budgets are going to do, what's going to be available and what's not. I think we will definitely get together and have another facilities meeting. So I just figured that, you know, we'd give ourselves a couple minutes if we wanted to or needed to put our thoughts out there as to where we were with that.
I'll start. Oh, that is the echo that I hear.
That was me.
In my office is weird when you're present. So the facilities committee, when it was last formed, said a few things that were essential. One was a new track, got working in the process of, you know, and at reading through the comments, unfortunately, to do big projects, especially through government organizations like a school district, it takes a lot of time, or a lot of time to find land or to purchase a building or those kinds of things. In the process for looking at and in the process of another facility for the district, and that's still not public yet, but working on something. All of our campuses except for one are overcrowded. In order to do a major remodel or to build a new one, that means going to bond. That means going to the taxpayers. There's no way to do it without going to the bond and making the taxpayers. And we've all said before, now is not the time to go for more taxes to our community. So that is not an option right now. We did decide to buy portables and move preschool into the portables. Unfortunately, those aren't going to be ready until November this year. So therefore preschool won't be ready until then, but that does free up some space. Move the old portables from McFarland to the high school so that there's a little bit more space there for classrooms, 2 portables, and moved those that were in the portables at McFarland into the building so it's safer for them, other things like that. For the options that we have right now, I know that other people would probably, I'm sure will disagree, but I think that's our best options right now. That's the best things that we can do. Still trying to move forward and looking at some other things. Anybody, anything else
I agree, especially at these uncertain times right now. We're still not for sure how the fall is going to look 100% with schools starting back up. So I agree. Some of these things we're just going to have to put on hold for a little while until we have some sight of some normal times again, and just go from there.
Yeah, I mean, same.
Same goes for me. I'm super disappointed that the things we were hoping to accomplish aren't going to happen, at least not anytime soon. But I mean, everybody's having to do that with their own personal businesses, their jobs, our farmers, all it's impacted the entire world. So we'll make do with what we can and move forward in the best way that we can with what we've got for the time being.
I mean, we did decide to sell the property on Lee Road. And if and when that sells, then we would have money to purchase another piece of property that would be better suited for a school. That is our long range goal, to build another campus, whatever that may be at the time. But right now, we can't just be pulling money out of a hat. I mean, we all have budgets that we all have to work on personally, most of you business wise as well. And that's the reality of a school too. We have a budget that we're constrained to, and we're not ready to overtax our local people. Right
now, the property on Lee Road, I know we all kind of discussed it and said, yes, I think the better option would be sell it. But do we need to go through the formal process to declare that surplus and start that process to go in order to get it on the market availability? I think there's a process that we need to follow in order to actually get that on the market and make it available.
So I think what the first step was to get it appraised. Yes. Now that we've gotten it appraised, we need to ask about what's the next step, I guess. Yes. At the next board meeting, and I know that Dr. Hurst is on this Zoom also in another room so that we can all be in the same room. But yeah, we need to put that on we need to know what the next step is and move forward to the next step, whatever that is.
Were you going to say something, Chris? I saw you unmuted yourself.
No, I was just saying I was listening to Jen. Absolutely. I captured everything.
Okay. All right. Well, good discussion. stuff is going on, although it may, like Jen says, may seem like it's not, but there are some stuff that's happening, some moves that were made, things of that nature. Moving on to item B2, linkage committee recommendations. Last year, we started with a couple board members at a time visiting specific organizations. We had some of them come to us, just had conversations as to how we could benefit from each other's experiences and how we could collaborate, things of that nature. So I don't know if anybody has thought of something new or something we could do, and what we could do to try to maintain some linkage with the community.
Well, I just don't think it's possible right now without even being in phase 3 to do anything. So I don't know that we should plan. We've got time. That's something that's easy to add into, don't you think? But we can't even get together. We're lucky to have 5 of us here at one time. So I think we should put it on a hold.
No, and that was the intent behind this. I mean, to
Yeah.
have this open discussion to, if you're blessed with a dream of a great idea and you want to bring it to us for when it's possible to amend our calendar, that those things are definitely doable.
I did like the format that we were using before. I mean, 2 members go meet with a group. That was working good. And then we had new board members come on. And so all the names got changed and it kind of got put off a little bit then. And actually then the COVID hit. So I believe if we use that same format, when we're able to start meeting bigger groups of 5 again. So I think that would still maintain the same procedure that we were using, but
Sharon, I think that you're right, definitely. And I appreciate that you could say that now's not the time. Ken, I think that it's interesting you said that because I think it didn't work to do 2. It was just too easy to say, oh, I'm too busy this month, or to miss it or something. I think after reading some of our evaluations from staff and community, obviously we need to have a better connection to some of our staff that feels like they're not being heard and valued. I don't know how. I don't have an answer for that. And I know that that's not linkage with the community, but in many ways it is. Those staff that are not feeling heard, I think for sure are the members of our community. Whereas sometimes meeting with the teachers are typically the ones that are able to come to when we do a site visits and those kinds of things. Those, I would say, it would be interesting to find the actual numbers, but I would say maybe 50% of those are members of our community. And so I do think that we need to, whether it's called linkage or it's called something else, somehow do a better way to outreach to them.
so Jen, I completely agree that there's times when all 5 of us board members to have linkage, especially with PSC, OEA, all 5 of us need to be together. But there's times when we have a small group or something that 2 of us board members, for the sake of the Open Public Meetings Act, we could still go let them know what the board's still doing and what our vision is. And sometimes that would be easier for a smaller group of people, having the 2 board members do that. But no, I completely agree. There's times when all 5 of us still need to make a larger effort to go see our staff, and maybe instead of once a year, twice a year with them, or even more, we could do that.
Absolutely. That's some great conversation there. And appreciative again of what Sharon said. Although we can't do it right now, that doesn't mean that we can't start planning for something, putting some together that we can later approve, discuss and approve and have it put onto the calendar. But yeah, after reading some of the responses, there's definitely more we can do. And I think we will. I think we're committed to this service, and I think we'll come up with ways to better communicate, whether it be newsletter and some of the stuff that was recommended, or physical visits, whatever it is. But I'm sure we'll come up with something. So yeah, great discussion, everyone. If there isn't any more, we'll move on. Okay. Next, we do have, we're gonna take a recess. The board will recess into an executive session for 60 minutes to review and discuss the results and comments from the superintendent evaluation surveys. As some of these comments would be considered complaints of a public employee, it is appropriate to review them in executive session rather than the public. No action will be taken following the executive session. So again, we will recess for 60 minutes. Thank you.
Mike,